Dan, I have two new numbers to give to you.
We're back on the numbers game.
We're going to play a numbers game, Dan.
Wait, is it two together as one or two separate single digits?
These will be two separate numbers.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
80 and 22.
80 and 22.
Yes.
The pressure in your tires on the rear of your truck.
That's why it leans the one side.
The PSI. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yesterday it was 80 degrees and today it is 22 degrees.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that well, that was a few days ago for us. Isn't that nice?
Gee. Yeah. So in our house, in the bedroom, it's like the farthest distance from the furnace, and it's got the master bath off the side, and it just gets a little hot in there versus the rest of the house. And I can't turn the air conditioner on this time of year because my furnace is still going. So we got that forced air furnace in the basement, and it has the heat exchanger slid into it for the outdoor wood furnace. And it sits right on top of that air conditioner TP thing. You with me?
Yep. I'm with you.
I don't know what would happen. It just seems like it ain't going to be good if you turn your air conditioner on while your heat exchanger is still 170 degrees, you know?
Right. Not good.
Well, I got this little window air conditioner and I stuck it in the window because it was so hot I couldn't go to sleep. It's terrible. And I had the timer on it. And then when I woke up the next morning, the air conditioner's off and the furnace is running.
Well, yeah, you cooled the house down and the thermostat kicked in and turned your heat back on.
No.
Oh.
The coolness was just in the master bedroom, not the rest of the house. The rest of the house was still, we didn't turn the whole air conditioner on, whole house. We just had this tremendous change in temperatures.
I was wondering if you still had the boiler going.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
And it's just freezing outside, and my sinuses can't keep up. Right now, it feels like I have a Buick in my head, and someone opened all the doors at the same time.
See, that's one thing I don't have too bad is the spring allergy sinus season. So I'm
it's not
glad.
allergies. It's this temperature changes. It's terrible.
Oh,
yeah.
You're just getting old.
Well, 60-degree temperature change will do it.
That is pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so let's thank everyone for tuning in to the Wood Hounds podcast. We are the #1 firewood podcast in the world. My name is Joe. I am a professional firewood delivery service and YouTube channel. And sitting across from me is Dan, who is
firewood.
Yeah, who is
Wait. No. Are we going to do it this early?
I'm giving you the honors, Dan.
All right. I am a hobbyist. Your world's favorite hobbyist. Back 40 Firewood, YouTube, all social media, and here on the Wood Hounds podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of hobbyist, and you're not just any hobbyist. You are a certified one. You are GFY certified. And I saw you were wearing a coat the other day which had a patch.
That's right.
That said GFY certified. Congratulations, Dan.
I worked hard to get that, and it's not easy to come by. Let me tell you.
No.
That just shows the level of hobbying I'm on.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Employee of the Month award at my place. It's very, very hard to get.
Yes.
Just
above and beyond.
It's not. It's not passed out like Tic Tacs, that's for sure.
Nope.
Yeah. So, Dan, we've been dealing with these temperature changes and these numbers, Dan, these numbers of the thermometer. Gee whiz. But now, this time of the year, these numbers start turning into something else that becomes a concern. Numbers, Dan, numbers. You know what kind of numbers I'm talking about?
I think I do, because it's that lovely time of the year,
It is the
tax
lovely,
season.
oh, April 15th and tax season,
Yep.
which begs the ultimate question, Dan.
What is that?
What about the taxes?
Oh, womp womp. What about the
Yeah,
taxes?
what about the taxes? And I owe this year, and this is like 3 years in a row now. And I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out this sole proprietor legitimate business thing, because there are tax advantages to being a business. But you also have to pay taxes, and then I don't know, what is it? You just get them back, or you paid too much, or whatever. But anymore, it just seems that I owe, and I owe again this year. Kind of lets the wind out of your sails because that's money that I could have used.
Yeah, it's never a good feeling when you walk out of your tax person's office and you're left, you're like, you got to pay. This is how much you owe.
Yeah,
Because growing up, I mean, I used to always, you do your taxes. It was kind of like exciting because you would always be getting a refund. But now I as well have, I'm a LLC, and yeah, filing taxes. I've had a few years where I've owed, and just goes to show that either are making too much or you're not spending enough. That's what that
yeah,
tells you
yeah.
right there.
And then if you make enough, well, enough for whoever, I'll put enough in air quotes, you have to prepay your taxes as the year goes by. So then you're paying in advance, and then you file your tax return, and then you determine if you've paid too much or not enough.
Right.
Yeah. But all of that is awaiting a small business. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, I guess. Firewood, obviously, for our podcast. But no matter what, a person out there with a side hustle or they're starting their own business, it's one of the realities of when you live in this country, you got to pay taxes.
But I think the firewood industry is one of those where you have a lot of people doing it as, like you mentioned, a side hustle. And
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of them play the tax game.
Yeah.
I
I think
think
you're right.
they look at it as they don't need to because it's better to not go through all the hassle
Yeah.
of
It's a
filing.
cash business. It's no one's business. And we'll all have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So that is an interesting topic. And I think this ultimately comes down to, what do you want to do? But it seems to me that if you are selling firewood because it's fun, you just need you like the cash. It's no one's business. It's just a private transaction between two people. Okay. But if you are ever to take that pivot, to take that step to getting into different elements of the industry, different markets of the industry, it seems like that pivot has to include going above, what do you call it? Going above the table, going legit.
Legit. Yes.
What's that's a French word, legit, for what? La
That could
tax.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you think that, well, I mean, both you and me had been at that crossroads where we could have just kept doing this as a not a private enterprise, but a black market, under the table, cash only business. But we both chose to go legit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't. Well, to your point about at some point, if you want to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, I don't think people realize the advantages there are in going legit.
Yeah.
If you start purchasing equipment, you start keeping track of your mileage, all of those things end up actually working out sometimes more than not in your favor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for reminding me. I forgot to track my mileage all of last year. So, paperwork. Me and paperwork don't get along. I agree, Dan. It seems that a person, and I understand the logic because I've been there. You make firewood, you sell it, you sell out of a roadside stand, you just mark it on Facebook, and you deliver it, you take cash, you go home. That's good enough, and keep at it, and enjoy your Christmas. Uh, it, but a lot of people, I think, don't take that step of professionalizing because of this fear of paying taxes. And what I had experienced was that when I I was reluctant to file as a legitimate business because I didn't want to lose money. But what I had learned was when I did file, I made more money, a lot of more money, despite coughing up a percentage of it to the government.
And that was because you were probably looked at as a legit business. So other businesses are more willing to do business with you.
I think that's one. I think that's one of the explanations. But you had mentioned the other thing about your expenses are now tax deductible. Your machinery, your required machinery, all that stuff. The paper, because you got to print invoices. Your paper, your
Yep.
ink, your printer, your computer, your cell phone, all of that is a deduction. And it just seems that there is this mentality also, like when you shift that gear and that you are now a legitimate business, you carry yourself differently, you operate differently, you are more professional, and that professionalism ultimately results in more sales, more visibility, more credibility. I think all of these things conspire to help your business thrive.
The credibility, I think, is the big one. And as far as projecting outward, and then, what you're doing, like you mentioned, all the different things, even like, your bar lube, your files, your chains for your saws. I mean, yes, it does require a little more keeping track of all of that stuff, but it can make it to where, at the end of the year, you're not going to like always owe money. Like people always think like, oh, I got to pay taxes. But if you're making enough and you're spending enough, then you don't have, obviously you can't every year show a loss running a
Yeah.
business. At some point they're going to say, wait a minute here, what's going on? But it's a big advantage, and it has been for me, when I tie in all the social media and everything.
Yeah.
It's been. I mean, I would not want to be trying to do this under the table.
Yeah, it'd be too hard to do.
Yeah.
For me, it was when I first filed, the first thing I started doing, was taking credit cards and paper invoices and starting with paper. Because if you're doing this for cash, you're not going to have paper invoices, you're not going to have, you don't want anything out there that shows that you're
Yep.
making money. But when you file, when you're a business and you start selling stuff and taking credit cards and issuing paper invoices, that opens up an entire new market for you with these retailers and other restaurants that want your service, but they got to have an invoice because that's an operating expense for them that they have to turn in on their taxes. So you got all these invoices out there with your name on it that can be tracked back to you as income if it doesn't match on what you file on your income.
Exactly. And especially for me with online sales, I mean, all of my transactions are credit card. You know,
Yeah.
there's hardly and there is no cash exchange selling online.
Yeah. And that was the big aha for me was, okay, everyone wants to do cash. Cash is king. But then when I started credit cards, the hurdle was, well, I don't want to spend this exchange fee and these transaction fees to the credit card company to take credit. But what I had figured out was that is a value that you're offering a customer, and you can charge more for your product. And even though you still got to pay that fee, when I look at that fee, I think, well, good heavens, I've pretty much made um, more money in just a few deliveries to pay for my credit card fees for the year versus what I'm making extra because I can now charge more for my firewood because people who want to buy on credit will pay more for your product. I'm here to tell you.
That's right. And you can add that into the cost of your product.
You better believe
So,
it.
yeah, so it's a convenience for you and for your customer.
Yeah. And I have an occasional cash customer, but I'm mostly credit only. And especially my recurring customers, I will text them the link on the day I deliver, and they usually have it paid before I even get there.
Oh, that's nice.
And
Yeah.
I don't have to mess with it. I still have to go to the bank. I have restaurants that pay with checks. Um, but it's just I like credit. Yeah, I like credit card. And that's where I hear, people, cash, this is cash. Well, okay, to each their own. If that's what you want to do, then go for it. But if you're going to be thinking, why am I not growing? Why am I only getting $350 for a cord of firewood? Well, that could be a clue.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like from my personal experience, like I don't have $350 worth of cash laying around my house right now. You know, so a lot of people, if
No.
you're trying to deliver a cord of wood to somebody and you want them to have $350 worth of cash, they're going to probably have to go to the bank and withdraw that, which puts another burden on your customer.
Yes.
And it's just something that, yeah, I don't have a lot of cash laying around. Got a
No.
lot of coins.
It's time for a change, Dan.
Time for change. That's right.
Yeah. The only change you have is in your pockets. Yeah. Yeah, that is one of the, well, I mean, this is going to sound harsh, but it's true. That's a stigma of the firewood industry is you just have, people that are usually you don't know who they are. They advertise, they have a picture of their firewood on Facebook and you call them and it's a wing and a prayer. Are they going to show up? Is the wood going to be what it says, what they say it's going to be? And you never know what's going to happen with a cash transaction too. Are they going to come back and say you gave them a counterfeit bill and all this other uncertainty? And it just seems like if you are filed, if you are a legitimate business, if you have professional lettering on your truck, you're courteous, you practice modern retail principles, invoices, credit cards, legitimate world-class customer service. I think it's a bright future out there for anyone who wants to get into the firewood industry. Now, I'm here to tell you, no, I don't want to pay taxes just like the next person, but I mean, I'm realistic. I don't like paying taxes, but I also like the military to protect my borders. You know, I like my
Right.
police and fire. I like my highways. I like my FDIC insurance. There are services out there that the government provides that I'm good with. So
Yes.
I'm realistic here. Okay, taxes need to be paid. I'm willing to do my fair share, but at the same time, too, I want to minimize as much as I can pay. But I just realize it's part of the thing. But when you're running a business, especially in an in a Wild West type of business like firewood, where it's very, very low professionalism. The majority of the transactions are made, under the table. Just by doing a simple thing of registering a business can be a huge advantage for you.
Yes, it can. And I'm right there
Yeah.
with you. I try to get my tax rate down as low as I can and pay as little as I can, but I still realize that it is part of, you know, the things that you get from society that does require part of, paying taxes. What about the taxes?
Wah, wah.
But I have also
Yeah.
learned many things from having um, a person like a CPA do my taxes for me. Like there's in running a business, sometimes it can be it's overwhelming to try to know all the different things in different ways. The different tax codes and how this works and that works. So that's why I find it well worth my money to have someone do that for me.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, could you imagine if I did my own taxes? I don't know what would happen, but it wouldn't be accurate, that's for sure.
You would
Yeah.
have agents knocking on your door.
Yeah, boy, there's just some things that, know thyself, and I know thyself. That's why I don't do my own taxes. Are you kidding me? Gosh. Oh my gosh, I forgot to add this 13 cents for my bar and chain oil. Looks like I'll have to start over again.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Dan, I am 13 cents richer, however.
Really?
My oiler didn't oil the last time, so that's a savings.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I've finally depreciated all of my tractor off from my taxes. So I told my tax lady, I think it's time I got to buy a new piece of
I think you
equipment.
need to buy another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is one of the realities of taxes. So I refer to myself as a recovering landlord. And I used to own a number of duplexes and houses and stuff. I've sold them all except for the one we live in now. But that was my experience to call myself a recovering landlord. But you learn real quick at landlording because they always say, it's a tax write off. Yes, there is a difference, though, between a loss or a tax write off where you've spent your own money or it was a paper loss.
Yes.
Paper loss versus an actual loss. There is a difference. So, yeah, your $30,000 tractor is a tax write off, but also that $30,000 that's not in your bank account anymore
No.
or that
Yeah.
you're on the hook for the next 5 years. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's but there is a lot to learn and a lot to keep track of, and it can seem overwhelming and not worth it. But I think to your point early on about if you're trying to pivot into taking your firewood startup business to another level, it's definitely worth, registering yourself as a business and then going through and paying those taxes.
Yeah. Totally agree. It sounds counterintuitive,
Yes.
but it's especially in firewood. I've always said if you're serious about it, separate yourself from everyone else. And the first thing you do is you file. Heck yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
All
Dan,
right. Well,
I can't
with
believe
that,
we had such an enjoyable discussion about taxes.
yeah, boy. Wow. Something that usually, like you said, is generally a turnoff. You're like, oh, taxes. Ugh.
Yeah. And I don't even know what the facts is about taxes. It's my homage to the Steve Miller Band. There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Dan, what do you say we pay our taxes and we strike up the band?
There you go. Strike up the band and thank everyone for tuning in to the Wood Hounds on your favorite streaming service every Wednesday, 5 a.m. Eastern.
And would you please consider giving us a 5-star review It does help with those algorithm things that you hear about.
And you can write it off.
So
your taxes.
That's right. So Dan, let's tell everyone out there to pay
Your taxes.
or don't
Pay your taxes.
because you have no taxes to pay on a cash transaction. And have
A great day.